On Authentic Ag, we talk with K-State Ag economist Gregg Ibendahl. He was one of the presenters at this year's Risk Profit Conference in Manhattan. We'll also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission and Kansas Department of Agriculture, as well as updates from the Kansas Livestock Association and some market talk from Paragon Ag Advisors. I'm Ken Rhajes. This is Authentic Ag.
Brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
Welcome to the Western Kansas Wildlife Travel Center, right here in my hometown of Oakley, Kansas. We're the front door of Western Kansas, located on three main highways, I-70, US 83, and US 40. And all those roads lead to history, beautiful scenery, and adventure, no matter which direction you go. We now have an IHOP. That brand that you've trusted up and down the road in all your travels is staffed with local folks, real people, just like you and me, and we're waiting on you to join us. So for fun, adventure, fuel up, fuel your body, and let's have some fun.
In agricultural news from agview.net, the U.S. and China are on track to sign the Phase 1 trade agreement next month. President Trump stated the negotiations are running ahead of schedule. South China Morning Post reporting Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping are set for a November 17th meeting in Chile to sign the interim trade deal. Trump says the agreement would, quote, take care of the farmers, among other things, also banking provisions. Spokesperson from China's Foreign Affairs Ministry confirmed the progress, saying the two sides make substantial progress in recent talks. The agreement includes an estimated $40 to $50 billion of agriculture purchases by China over a two-year period, with up to $20 billion possible in the first year. Market analysts say agricultural trade with China appears to be starting to normalize even ahead of the agreement. In 2017, before the trade war began, the U.S. shipped $19.5 billion worth of agriculture products to China, but the trade war cut those exports in half. Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue released the long-awaited regulation plan for hemp production. Perdue says rulemaking teams operated as an all-hands-on-deck over the last few months in creating a fair and science-based program, he said. USDA says the framework makes hemp producers eligible for several agriculture programs like crop insurance. Under the interim final rule, USDA will approve hemp production plans developed by states. The program then will require documentation of the land where hemp is produced, along with testing and licensing requirements. USDA will begin accepting applications 30 days after the effective date of the interim rule. Meanwhile, all hemp production must be sampled and tested for THC concentration levels at a Drug Enforcement Agency registered laboratory. If a test confirms a THC level exceeding the approved level, then the crop needs to be disposed of. Hemp must not contain more than 0.3% of THC on a dry weight basis, as a level above the 0.3% is federally considered marijuana. Complete rules available online, ams.usda.gov. And grain inspection experts warning the 2019 fall harvest, bringing quality challenges for many. Tom Dahl, president of the American Association of Grain Inspection and Weighing Agencies, says the quality challenges may vary by region. Some could see some weathered grain, others may see green or immature grain, or it could be frost-damaged kernels, mold, or even some fungus issues. Now, any of these create marketing issues for producers and for users, whether they're processors, feeders, or millers. Dahl says it's a matter of understanding the quality that they're receiving so it can be used for its best purpose. The organization recommends accurate measurements of crop quality, as both buyers and sellers can benefit from clearly understanding the quality of the grain or the oil seeds that they are handling. Consistent, accurate test results can be best assured through using an official grain inspection agency. Now, these agencies supervised by Department of Agriculture's Federal Grain Inspection Service. It's Ag News. Go to agview.net for more. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well on their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we'll be glad to answer and work with you.
Watch Ag AM in Kansas online at agaminkansas.com.
And joining us now is Gregg Ibendahl, a K-State Ag economist, and he was also one of the presenters at the Risk Profit Conference. Greg, one of the things that you talked about was, I guess, looking already at next year, trying to line up fertilizer and trying to guess where we might be with those prices.
Yeah, that's always been kind of an interest of mine, looking at production expenses for farmers and figuring out some way if we can actually predict those. Because if you can predict the fertilizer price, then you can actually time when you make your purchases and maybe affect your crop mix. So the ability to predict fertilizer prices, I think, can help farmers tremendously.
We'll talk about some of the things you shared, some of your insights you've learned.
Well, so normally fertilizer, you would think is tied to the natural gas price because they make fertilizer, basically the ammonia products, from natural gas. Well, it turns out natural gas is not a very good predictor of fertilizer prices, too much volatility. And I started looking at those models, back probably 15 years ago, and they just never did work out too well. Well, the last couple of years I've been kind of looking at maybe, is there another substitute we can look at? So I've been looking at predicting fertilizer prices based on the price of oil and the price of corn. It turns out when you combine those two together, you get a really nice model.
So really, again, we go, everything revolves around corn.
Well, it kind of does, because you can kind of almost look at that as the demand side of things. So, the better a corn price is going to be, you're going to have more corn acres. And a higher price also leads to higher fertilizer application rates. So all those affect really the demand for nitrogen fertilizer and how much is going to be applied out there.
Do we have too much information, though, in trying to make these decisions?
I don't think so, because in my model to predict this, I'm actually looking at the price of oil that's lagged for 9 months. So basically, I already had that data already in hand. So with the current price of oil today, I can basically give you some idea of what the fertilizer price is going to be 9 months from now.
So it's really advantageous to start tracking that early, book it early, or because of some of the volatility to wait?
Well, actually, looking at my model, I had a prediction in my paper that I presented here today. I'm basically saying that starting from now, I think fertilizer prices may go down maybe for maybe up to a month or so, but then they're going to start going up, and they're going to go up probably clear up and through December. So really now is a really pretty good time to buy fertilizer for next year. I think it's going to be the low point for the next 9 months to a year or so.
So especially if your cropping rotation will help you make those cropping rotations, those acre allocations, this may be the time to lock in, other than seed, probably the most expensive input.
Yeah, I would think so. If you can do it now, it'd be a great time. But I've heard some talk yesterday that some of these suppliers really aren't always honoring their agreements for these things. But if you can buy it, if you have a place to store it, for sure, because then you can get the price that you have. So now's a good time to buy. Like I said, a lot of times we see farmers wait till the end of the year and look at their cash flow needs and maybe try to lower their income for the year. But if you try to buy in December, that's actually going to be about the worst, because I think that's actually when prices are going to peak. So either buy it now or maybe wait till like February, March before you actually buy.
So you'll have this information be up on the Ag Manager info site, correct?
Yes, it's on there now. If you go to agmanager.com and look under our site there, you'll see a paper by me about predicting fertilizer prices.
All right, Greg, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Gregg Ibendahl, K-State Ag Economist, joining us. We'll have more coming up.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News. A reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Ken Rhajes with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if you're held liable in any type of accident, the judgment can claim your assets? Please give me a call so we can discuss. 316-945-6733.
Practical, profitable genetics. It's not just a slogan, but our expectation for every Dale Banks bull we market. They won't be a one-trait wonder, but they will offer optimum levels of the most predictable genetics in the industry today. They'll be developed on forage, backed by decades of data, fertility tested, foot scored, and freeze branded. We'll sell 150 yearling and coming 2-year-old bulls in our Practical, Profitable Genetics bull sale on Saturday, November 23rd at the ranch near Eureka, Kansas. For information, call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
And joining us once again is Gregg Ibendahl, a K-State Ag Economist, and this time we're going to talk about a study that he and some of his colleagues have done looking at spending on the farm, especially when it comes to machinery, not necessarily inputs. Did you find some interesting things?
Yeah, I think we did. So there's a whole bunch of research out there on the consumer world about looking at spending and such by the different generational issues. Well, we have data in our KFMA database now that we can actually go about and look at spending by farmers as a generational issue. So we're looking at some of those issues.
Were there things that surprised you?
Yeah, I guess my hypothesis going into this study was that, baby boom generations, we see a lot of consumer research says they're the biggest spenders. So I decided to take our data from our KFMA thing and actually look at that on the farmer side with the idea that, if they're going to spend extra, it's going to be probably for machinery, because that's a place you can park money, and, it's always nice to have a new tractor and such. So if they're going to overspend, it's probably going to be on the machinery side. And we did find some differences, although not as much as you might expect.
So would it depend on what size of operation, how many years, different cropping rotations? I mean, give us some of those things you looked at.
Well, it's kind of a two competing hypotheses I was looking at. So one was saying, okay, the baby boom generation, because they do spend more money in the consumer side, they're going to spend more money for machinery. That was the one hypothesis. I guess the competing version of that would be, well, it's going to be more of a life cycle thing. So we'll see the oldest farmers who have the most available cash and least amount of debt, they'll be spending the most, whereas millennials who are just getting started and have the highest level of debt, they'll spend the least. And those were the two things we were looking at.
Well, as we look at it, it seems like some of these new ones getting in, if they have gone in the last 2 or 3 years since the peak maybe of farm income, it probably looks a little bit different. But I would guess that probably farming operation, the way, are they no-till, are they conventional, and how important is all that pretty iron, in the machinery line?
Well, we kind of rolled all those together, so we're basically looking at things on a per acre basis across all farms across Kansas, so we didn't look so much at those issues. Okay. The one thing we did find unique, though, that was the baby boomers don't tend to spend more than what you might think. It's more of a life cycle hypothesis we're seeing come through. So the older farmers who probably do have more available cash, less debt to asset ratio. They actually are spending the most for machinery, whereas millennials who are just getting started, they're spending the least. So really, you hear talk about millennials, they don't really know what they're doing, but it turns out that I think they really do. They're spending appropriately for the amount of income they have come in.
Did you look at geographic? Was there one geographical area maybe of Kansas that was more, or was it pretty much the same all over?
Yeah, we did divide the data in East, Central, and West, and we didn't really see any regional differences at all.
So it all just depends on, I guess, age and capital availability of where that ended up.
Yeah, I mean, age is a factor, but I think that's also driven by the fact that the older you are, the least debt you have, and the more cash. I think that's probably really driving it.
And again, that is now posted as well on the K-State website?
Yes, it will be on agmanager.info.
All right, very good. Well, Greg, we appreciate the update. Fascinating stuff to look at. Thanks for your work.
Thanks for having me.
Gregg Ibendahl, K-State Ag Economist, is joining us, and we've been talking about farmers and the way they spend. You can find that information at agmanager.info. Stay with us, more coming up.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families in rural Kansas for more than 100 years. We're pleased to offer new health care coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it, and it worked. I'm not going to go out and take trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.
The American Soybean Association wants to give a scholarship to someone interested in studying agriculture. The Soy Scholarship is a $5,000 one-time award presented to a high school senior who plans to pursue agriculture at any accredited college or university during the 2020-2021 academic year. ASA manages the scholarship, which the BASF Corporation makes possible through a grant. Eligible students may apply online until December 1. ASA and BASF have rewarded students for their hard work and interest in agriculture since 2008. They award $2,500 per semester, and the recipient must demonstrate successful academic progress and remain in good standing with the college or university to receive the full scholarship. A committee of soybean farmer leaders will make the final selection in early January and notify the student by mid-January. An official announcement will follow with a presentation scheduled in the spring. Visit soygrowers.com/soy-scholarship on the web for more details. ASA represents U.S. soybean farmers on national and international policy issues important to their industry. Its 26 affiliated state associations include more than 300,000 soybean farms in 30 states.
Kim Mannering with Hardy Insurance. Today we will talk about umbrella coverage. Did you know that if your cattle get out, you could be held liable for that? Call me. Let's have a discussion. 316-945-6733.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News. A reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
As you prepare for the holidays this year, consider giving a gift that celebrates the state you love by buying gifts that are from the land of Kansas. From the Land of Kansas is the state trademark program promoting and celebrating agricultural experiences and products grown, raised, or produced in Kansas. Kansas-made food and other products not only make great gifts, but they also support Kansas farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses. Look for the From the Land of Kansas logo when shopping at gift shops, boutiques, and grocery stores. When you shop Kansas, you support local Kansas companies. During the holiday season, giving the gift of Kansas is even easier. The program offers holiday boxes that can be ordered online and be shipped directly to your family and friends. 2 gift boxes are available again this year, the Ad Astra box and the Kanza box, offering a variety of products from across the state, including summer sausage, salsa, cocoa cake mix, and pumpkin bites. Order by December 10th to ensure delivery by Christmas. You can also connect with From the Land of Kansas on Facebook or Instagram and read our blog or follow us on Pinterest to find recipes throughout the holidays, featuring many of our great From the Land of Kansas members' products. For other ideas or to find retailers or Kansas businesses near you, visit FromTheLandOfKansas.com. If you don't live near the retailers, you can also shop online at the From the Land of Kansas marketplace at shop.FromTheLandOfKansas.com, where you'll find everything from candles and pet treats to snacks and baking mixes. Look for the From the Land of Kansas logo and make Kansas part of your holidays this year, from the gifts you give to the meals you prepare.
Practical, profitable genetics. It's not just a slogan, but our expectation for every Dale Banks bull we market. They won't be a one-trait wonder, but they will offer optimum levels of the most predictable genetics in the industry today. They'll be developed on forage, backed by decades of data, fertility tested, foot scored, and freeze branded. We'll sell 150 yearling and coming 2-year-old bulls in our Practical, Profitable Genetics bull sale on Saturday, November 23rd at the ranch near Eureka, Kansas. For information, call the Perriers at 620-583-4305 or dalebanks.com.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Speakers on a panel at the KLA convention will explain how the industry is positioning beef as plant-based protein options gain notoriety. The industry information session, sponsored by Elanco Animal Health, will highlight how the National Cattlemen's Beef Association is coordinating checkoff resources and policy efforts to address the fake meat issue. Dates for the KLA convention are December 4th through the 6th at the Wichita Hyatt and Century 2 Convention Center. NCBA Senior Vice President of Global Marketing, Elisa Harrison, will outline how checkoff dollars are being used to highlight the taste and nutritional advantages of beef. High-level digital strategies and paid advertising on social media platforms are among the ways this is being accomplished. In addition, Kansas Beef Council staff will share a video featured in the new in-state checkoff campaign titled One Simple Ingredient. The message, targeted at millennials and Generation Z consumers, provides positive differentiation for beef from meat substitutes. The policy side of the fake meat issue will be presented by NCBA Vice President of Government Affairs Ethan Lane. He and other staff in Washington, D.C. are working to ensure all protein sources, including the plant-based varieties and cell-cultured options of the future, are produced and marketed under the same food safety and labeling standards as animal-based proteins. Registration information for the KLA convention can be found on KLA.org. Members can save on the cost of attending by registering before November 15th.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device, news and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking AgView on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow AgView News, a reliable and relevant source, agview.net.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Sure Crop Fertilizers was started by my father, Don Sherman, and my mother, Shirley Sherman. Family business that started in the 80s. We predominantly focus on plant nutrients and what we can do to give growers better responses with the fertilizer dollars that they do, and what we can do to make those things work better for the grower. We're based out of Seneca, Kansas. We work with growers in their soil analysis to figure out what they need, and then we can put those in a blend that gives them the best results, and so that we can deliver that direct to their farm so that they have those nutrients where they need them, when they need them, and so that they can apply them in a manner that's very efficient to them and works well in their planting systems and what they're doing. Sure Crop Fertilizers has been around for a long time. We always say we're big enough to take care of everything you need, but yet we're small enough to do it quickly. You can get a hold of us at 1-800-635-4743. Our website is surecropfertilizers.com, and you can always email me at Corey@surecropfertilizers.com, and with any questions you have, we're glad to answer it and work with you.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
Good morning, I'm Darren Van Vactor with Paragon Ag. Last week's cattle on feed report was deemed neutral to friendly. The market is pressed into the highest level seen since last spring. While this is an opportunity to offset some risk, the how may be just as important as the where. The grain markets have slowed their upward trajectory as of late. The lack of trade and production news, along with the weather forecast that favors harvest progress, seem to be the leading factors. There were no major grain reports this week. However, NASS pegged corn harvest at 41% complete, still well behind the 5-year average of 61. The condition rating moved 2% higher, good to excellent, but trailing 10% behind last year. The final bean condition rating was last week at 54% good to excellent, 9% behind last, and 21 behind the 5-year average. Harvest made a good 16% jump, now only trailing last year by 7%. Winter wheat planting plugged along, now at 85% ahead of last year and the 5-year average. Next up for the grains is the November 8th supply and demand report. While normally a quieter report, many are still holding on to the assumption the USDA has to reveal a smaller production number for corn and beans. We will have to see, as demand projections can sometimes tell just as big of a story. The slow harvest has caused a lot of problems with efficiency, however, may be creating an opportunity. While futures have stalled, basis has improved for corn and beans. There are ways to create cash flow and still be long. Curious? Give us a call here at Paragon Ag Advisors, 888-452-8751. I'm Darren Van Vactor. Be safe and have a great week.
Well, thank you for joining us for Authentic Ag. If you have questions or comments or suggestions, email me, Ken Rhajes @gmail.com. We look forward to seeing you next time on Authentic Ag.
Kansas Farm Bureau has served farm families and rural Kansas for more than 100 years, and we're pleased to offer new healthcare coverage choices for Kansans in 2020 through Kansas Farm Bureau health plans. No matter what stage of life you're in, we'll have options that fit your lifestyle. Plus, our network of providers is one of the largest available throughout the state of Kansas and beyond. For more information, including the different plans available, or to get a quote, visit kfbhealthplans.com.